Sometimes it's not the plan that breaks, but the trust. You look at your schedule, the unanswered messages, the account that doesn't stretch, the promise that wasn't kept. You feel like the world kept moving while you stayed frozen in a single frame. The mind passes sentence. You failed, you're late, it's too late. That voice brings evidence but no solutions. The Stoics didn't argue with the past, they used it. Starting over isn't erasing, it's deciding. You don't go back to zero, you go back different. Today, you'll do it with method. First principle, accept without dramatizing. Acceptance doesn't mean saying, "I don't care," or staying silent about what's unfair. It means seeing facts without decoration. The relationship ended. The business collapsed. You failed the exam. It hurt. Period. Every adjective you add is extra suffering. Epictetus put it this way: you're not disturbed by what happens, but by what you think about what happens. When you lower the volume of opinion, the control you still have reappears, and with it, the first movement. Do it through 3 practical gestures. 1. Name the fact in a single line. My proposal was rejected. I argued with my partner. I abandoned my habit. Just the fact, no judgment. 2. Separate what's under control from what isn't in 2 columns. On the left, your behavior. On the right, everything else. 3. Choose the smallest action you can take today. 1 call, 1 email, 10 minutes of tidying, 5 of breathing. Small acts break inertia and give you back agency. When it hurts, the mind writes a novel. It replays scenes, invents motives, collects what-ifs. You have the right to feel, not to burn the house down. Use this phrase to cut the loop. Fact, not story. Say it quietly whenever the drama grows. Reality is usually less terrible than the anxious narrative. Reality can be worked with, the story cannot. Breathing 6-2-6-2. Inhale 6, hold 2, exhale 6, hold 2. 2 minutes, spine straight, shoulders loose, jaw relaxed. Don't chase thoughts. Watch them pass. This pattern regulates the system and creates the space between impulse and response Marcus Aurelius spoke of. Without space, impulse rules. With space, you decide. Realistic anticipation. Tell yourself in the morning, today there will be delays, surprises, difficult people. None of this defines my virtue. What's difficult stops being a personal offense and becomes part of the terrain. Indignation burns energy. Preparation organizes it. When you expect friction, it finds you ready. Immediate reframing, guiding question for every blow. What part of this can become practice? Patience, composure, clarity, negotiation, humility. Choose one virtue and use it as a filter. If today you could train only one, which would it be? Training one virtue is more concrete than feeling better. It gives direction, focus, measurement, micro-agreements with yourself. Don't promise epic feats. Promise what you can fulfill in 24 hours. A hard message sent, an apology made, 15 minutes of external order, 10 of internal order, water instead of coffee in the afternoon. Keeping small promises rebuilds self-respect. Without self-respect, no rebirth lasts. A real example, your proposal was rejected and you felt resentment. Fact, rejection received. Control, the quality of your next submission, the tone of your reply, the consistency of your efforts. Not under control, the other's criteria, the market's timing. Minimum action today. Ask for feedback in 2 lines and schedule 30 minutes to refine the next draft. 2-minute breathing, fact, not story, then send, not heroic, effective. Another scenario. The relationship ended and your phone turned into a torture chamber. Fact, it's over. Control, digital hygiene, contact boundaries, physical routine, support network. Not under control, what the other person feels or decides. Minimum action today. Mute notifications for 24 hours and schedule a 20-minute walk without music. Emotion asks for drama. Reason asks for protocol. This is acted acceptance, not resignation. It doesn't deny pain, it disciplines it. It doesn't romanticize it, it channels it. If today everything feels too big, return to the manageable minimum. One fact named, one control list, one minimum action, 2 minutes of breathing, one micro-agreement fulfilled. That is your ground. You don't need motivation to start again, you need direction. Motivation usually appears after action, not before. When you honor a micro-agreement, your mind takes note. We followed through. That evidence is worth more than any speech. Accepting without dramatizing is the doorway. Cross it, straighten your back, choose your minimum action, and execute it today. Marcus Aurelius wrote to remind himself who he was amid the noise. You can do the same. Write a single line in your notebook or on your phone. With what I have, I do what I can, today. Read it before your first friction. It grounds you in the present, cuts complaint, and returns command. It's not magic, it's practice. As long as you breathe, there's margin. Choose the minimum, keep it, repeat it. Begin your return. You've already taken the first step, acceptance. Now comes the second, the quietest, the hardest. It's not about chasing the future or fixing everything. It's about finding yourself again. When something collapses, the first thing you lose isn't direction, it's connection to your center. You start acting on autopilot, moving without purpose, responding to others without listening to yourself. That disconnection is what makes everything feel heavier. The Stoics knew this. No external force can sustain you if you are absent from yourself. That's why the second principle of the method is to reconnect with what's essential. Reconnecting doesn't mean feeding yourself empty phrases or inflating yourself with optimism. It means remembering that you are not your emotions, that you are not your thoughts, that you can observe what happens without turning it into your identity. That inner distance is called the hegemonikon, the inner governor the Stoics spoke of. When you listen to it, the noise quiets. When you forget it, the world drags you away. Each morning, before you touch your phone, sit and breathe. 2 minutes is enough. Just repeat silently, I am here. That simple phrase brings you back to the present. Don't think about everything you have to do. Don't run through your to-do list. Just affirm your presence. Seneca said the wise person lives each day as a complete life. If you can feel yourself in the now, even for a moment, your day begins with clarity. When you're disconnected, you react from your lowest emotion. The mind races, the body tightens, decisions become impulses. But when you reconnect, you choose from calm. That difference is what separates the wise from the distracted. The problems remain, but the way you face them changes. You no longer respond from fear, but from reason. A practical way to do this is to write 3 lines at the end of the day. What happened, what I learned, what I can improve tomorrow. Don't look for pretty words or speeches, just facts. Writing empties the mind and clears away excess thought. That simple act anchors you. Marcus Aurelius did it every night. He didn't write to inspire, he wrote to remember who he was. Reconnecting also means caring for your body. You can't think clearly if you're exhausted. Sleeping, moving, hydrating, and keeping your surroundings in order are Stoic acts, not superficial ones. The body is the foundation of the mind. A tense body creates a confused mind. So when everything feels overwhelming, return to the body. Walk, breathe, stretch, clean. It's the most direct way back to the present. Don't ignore your emotions. The Stoics didn't deny them, they translated them. Every emotion carries a message. Fear asks for preparation. Anger asks for boundaries. Sadness asks for rest. Listen without dramatizing. Ask what they're showing you. If you can listen without fighting what you feel, you'll recover balance. Do a check-in during the day. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, how am I? Not how you should be, but how you actually are. Maybe you need silence, maybe movement. Giving yourself what you need isn't weakness, it's wisdom. You can't rebuild anything if you're empty. Reconnecting also means cleaning what you consume, what you read, what you watch, what you listen to. Every stimulus either feeds or drains your mind. Seneca warned that the soul becomes like what it pays attention to. Guard your attention. It's your most valuable resource. If you give it to noise, noise will rule you. 3 pauses a day are enough to reconnect. Morning, silence before the phone. Midday, 1 conscious breath before reacting. Night, 3 lines written before bed. You don't need more. These pauses bring you back to center. Reconnection isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. If you don't do it, everything external will control you. When you return to yourself, fear becomes manageable, guilt turns into learning, and chaos becomes practice. That's the essence of the second principle. It's not magic, it's mastery. To start again without returning to yourself is to build on air. The second step of the method doesn't aim for speed, it aims for solidity. When you know who you are, no outcome can destroy you. The Stoics summed it up in one idea: nothing external can harm you if your mind remains intact. You've accepted the fall, you've returned to yourself. Now comes the moment that determines whether change will be real or just another idea. The third principle of the Stoic method for starting again is action, but not action driven by haste or fear, action born of serenity. When you accept and reconnect, action stops being reaction. It becomes choice, and that's the difference between running aimlessly and moving with direction. The Stoics didn't believe in waiting to feel ready. Marcus Aurelius wrote it plainly: right action at the right time, that is virtue. You don't need motivation to act, you need clarity. Motivation comes afterward. The first step is movement, even a small one. Inaction is the ground where doubt grows, and doubt, if you feed it, paralyzes you. Many wait for the perfect moment, the day fear disappears, when things align, when energy or inspiration arrives. But that day never comes. Action creates the mental state, not the other way around. When you act, even in the smallest way, your mind understands that you're back in the game, and that small step, repeated daily, rebuilds the confidence that the fall destroyed. The most common mistake after a collapse is wanting to recover everything at once. You want to be who you were, achieve the same, feel the same, but you're not the same, and that's okay. It's not about returning to the previous point, but about creating a new one. Stoicism teaches that every day is a training ground, not of perfection, but of practice. The question isn't, why did this happen to me, but what can I train today with this? Stoic action isn't impulsive. It's precise, deliberate, conscious. It rests on 3 pillars: clarity, consistency, and direction. Clarity to know what depends on you. Consistency to act even without motivation. Direction to keep from getting lost in noise. If you can sustain those 3, nothing external can break you. Keep it simple. Choose one action that moves you forward. Don't think about the future. Think about the operational present. If you're blocked, organize something physical. If you're anxious, go for a walk. If you're stagnant, write 3 ideas for improvement. The size doesn't matter. The meaning does. Each small disciplined act strengthens your character. Marcus Aurelius had a habit. Before starting his day, he visualized the tasks ahead and told himself, "None of this is impossible if I am human and if my nature is to act with reason." That phrase is a declaration of power, not of ego, but of purpose. It reminds you that action doesn't depend on emotion, but on decision. You don't need to feel strong. You need to behave like someone who wants to become strong. Action also means letting go. You can't start over if you're still carrying everything from before. Sometimes moving forward isn't about adding. It's about releasing, letting go of the need to please, to control, to understand everything. Freedom begins when you accept that not everything needs a response. Epictetus taught that the one who needs to control every outcome is a slave to externals. The wise person acts well and lets the result be what it must be. Your work, your body, your relationships, your discipline, Everything can begin again if you choose to move from virtue. Virtue isn't moral perfection, it's coherence. It's doing the right thing even when no one sees, even when you don't feel like it. It's being faithful to your principles when emotion demands otherwise. That is the true muscle of character. To act doesn't mean to do a lot, it means to do what's right. There are days when moving a millimeter is enough. Don't underestimate the small. The habit of following through rebuilds self-respect. Each time you complete an action, your mind records evidence. I'm following through. That evidence repeated builds confidence. Confidence builds momentum. Momentum builds change. Don't promise yourself grand achievements. Promise yourself presence. Get up, breathe, and do what you said you would do, not out of pride, but out of honor. Stoic discipline isn't punishment, it's self-respect, sustained over time. Self-respect isn't spoken, it's shown, and the way to show it is by keeping your word to yourself. Life doesn't ask for perfection, it asks for coherence. If today you can take a step, take one. If you can't move forward, stand firm. If you're on the ground, breathe and observe. Everything counts when done with awareness. The Stoics didn't seek to remove difficulty, they sought to grow stronger through it. They didn't ask for less weight, they asked for more strength. Your practice today is simple. Do one thing that brings you closer to your best self. It doesn't matter what it is, but do it with intention. That intention is the seed of your new beginning. And as you do it, remember Marcus Aurelius's phrase, if it is within your power, do it without delay. If it is not, accept it without sorrow. That is the line dividing anxiety from peace. Starting again isn't an event. It's a daily practice, a constant choice of action over resignation. Every time you choose to move, you return to life. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start imperfectly, but start today. Starting again isn't a flash of inspiration. It's a practice of awareness. You've accepted the fall. You've returned to yourself. You've acted. Now the process continues in silence, in small gestures, in every morning when you choose to keep going. Because the Stoic method doesn't aim for you to change the world. It aims for you to govern yourself. And when you do, everything else begins to align around you. The fourth movement is to sustain yourself, not with tense force, but with steady calm. The Stoics called it constancy of the soul, that ability to remain centered regardless of circumstances. It's not an emotion, it's a training. And it's cultivated every time you choose what depends on you, every time you breathe before reacting, every time you do what's right without witnesses, every time you rise again when you don't feel like it. That too is starting over. Seneca said the wise man doesn't hope for easy days, he prepares for difficult ones, and you can do the same. If today you feel unclear, tired, or like the path is long, remember, you don't need to see the whole route, only the next step. The mind freezes when it thinks too far ahead, but when you focus on the immediate, you regain direction. Don't rush. Hurry is just another form of fear. Move at your own pace, but move. Serenity isn't found, it's built. Each day you choose to act from reason instead of impulse, you strengthen your character. Character is the invisible muscle of the soul. It's what keeps you on course, even when there are no applause, no certainties, no immediate rewards. Look around you. Everything changes, everything moves, everything dies and is reborn. And so do you. Nothing is lost as long as you're still breathing. You may have made mistakes, you may have fallen, but as long as you're willing to rise, you haven't failed. Failure only happens when you choose not to return. And you are already returning. For today, stop seeking external signs. The real beginning isn't out there. It's in the decision you make in this instant, in the thought you choose to hold, in the action you decide to take even when no one sees. The Stoic method is simple but demands commitment. Accept, reconnect, act, and sustain. 4 movements you can repeat as many times as needed. There is no limit to restarts. Make each day a practice. Don't ask yourself if you're motivated. Ask yourself if you're being coherent. Coherence is the thermometer of serenity. If your words, your thoughts, and your actions move in the same direction, no matter how far you still have to go, you're already advancing. That inner harmony is what the Stoics called virtue. And virtue, Marcus Aurelius said, is true happiness. Stoic journaling for today. What can I do today, even if it's small, that gives me back a sense of control? Don't answer quickly. Write it, think it, and do it. Because control isn't regained by thinking, it's regained by doing. 24-hour challenge. Choose one single action you've been postponing and do it today. Not tomorrow, not later, today. It could be organizing a space, making a pending call, going for a walk, sending a message you've delayed. One action that symbolizes movement. That act will be your declaration of restart. When you finish, breathe and repeat silently, I'm back. Not because everything is solved, but because you decided to return to your center. That moment, though no one may see it, is a rebirth. The Stoic method doesn't promise it won't hurt. It promises you'll be able to handle it. It doesn't remove the weight. It teaches you to carry it with dignity. And with time, what feels heavy today will become muscle. What hurts today will become wisdom. What seems like an ending will become just another part of your formation. If you've made it this far, it means you've already taken the most important step, not giving up. The rest is daily practice. Repeat the principles whenever you need to. Accept, reconnect, act, sustain. That's the path. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start with what you have, from where you are, with a clear mind and a calm heart. And if this episode helped you, if it reminded you that you can always return, share it. Subscribe to keep training your mind, because the Stoic path isn't walked once. It's practiced every day, and every day you can begin again. Nothing is lost. You are just learning to see differently.